Welcome to K-Drama Divas, a podcast and community for passionate fans of Korean dramas. Join us as we explore the captivating world of K-dramas, discussing the latest releases, timeless classics, and everything in between. Whether you're a seasoned K-drama addict or just stepping into this addictive realm, get ready to laugh, cry, and fangirl with the K-Drama Divas. Welcome to the K-Drama Divas podcast. My name's Amanda.
I'm Serena.
I'm Maureen.
It's Tuesday night and we're recording. Let's start with a shout out. Serena.
Oh, I have another friend from work. She is from San Francisco. Her name is Dong Lee, and she was visiting our office today and let me know that she has been listening to our podcast and has enjoyed them. And so shout out to Dong Lee. Thank you.
Hi, Dong Lee. Thanks for listening.
Yes.
And it's interesting that you said that because I've been noticing a listener from San Francisco.
Oh, really?
I've been wondering who they are. So now I know. It's great to have you listening.
I didn't realize we had a San Francisco list. I didn't know you had seen that. So
Yeah.
not that I would have put it together if she hadn't have said anything, but
Yeah, there's lots of different places, but I've been wondering who that San Franciscan was.
San Franciscan. Where are other places that you've noticed that you've wondered?
Oh my gosh, they're all over.
They are all over, but I mean, it could be many people in Las Vegas. I know there's listeners in Las Vegas, and I get curious about them too.
Okay.
But
I just thought maybe if we said, hey, we know you're out there in these cities or places, maybe they'd let us know who they are.
yeah. Well, if you're listening and you're from Las Vegas, give us a shout out on Facebook, Twitter, X,
Wherever.
wherever. We want to say hello to you.
And I think a while back, you said there was actually someone or some people from South Korea that were listening. Is that true?
Well, they only listened a few times. They probably couldn't handle how we mispronounced their names.
That's true. We're very sorry.
We
Yeah.
are.
Yes, we're American.
We are, and we'll probably continue to mispronounce, but we'll keep trying because just because we're American, we'll still give it our all.
Yes.
This guy on, I don't know if it was Facebook, he was saying that we mispronounce their words. And he was saying like park. It's not park, it's pop.
Right.
And
I think I sent you that video.
you could have.
See,
And
be patient with us. We're constantly
Yes.
trying to improve. See, I can't even speak English.
Well, and as you know, I've been trying to learn for a year now. And I mean, I know when I'm looking at my little tutorial thingy, what things are, but then to do it in real life, it just doesn't translate. So maybe one of these days I'll catch on and do it correctly, but I struggle with it.
That is difficult.
So, and Donna Lee told me, I told her today that of the struggle I have, because we were talking about, she was laughing at our name issues. And I told her I was trying to learn, and she was confirming that the Korean language is very, very difficult. So it made me feel a little better, but you'd think after all this time, I would know better.
I mean, even just how much we watch.
Right.
We watch so much Korean drama, so many
it's funny
Korean.
though, because I can pick up on, I mean, I know some of what they're really saying.
Really?
And I do because I've heard it so many times now.
Yeah.
So when they're saying something, so then I'll look down in the subtitles. And sure enough, it's like, that'll be in there.
Wow.
Well, and I thought so many times that you hear people that come to America and they learn the language by watching TV shows. And so I thought the more that we do this, the more I would catch on, but I'm not.
I know it is true though, because I heard also that they said that we get the subtitles, but the subtitles really are not. It's much more involved what they're saying.
Right.
So,
And even the thing, I mean, the way they where they put words in their sentence is like
Mhm.
opposite of
Right.
us. So that makes it difficult for
Yes.
me too.
Hmm.
So when you think about it, they're much smarter than us.
I
Because
think so.
about, I mean, their language, really, it's so complicated.
Right.
They're so smart
Right.
to learn all that.
And then to
And
learn ours is probably
yes.
easy. Well, I'm
Yeah,
sure
no.
nothing's easy.
No.
But,
But-
for them, anybody that speaks more than one language, I'm in awe of because I have a hard enough time with English. So
I agree. Me too.
Yes.
Today, we're talking about Captivating the King. It's a drama that I just started a few days ago, and I am in the middle of episode 6.
That's great because you only started it a couple days ago, right? Or a few days ago.
I know.
Are you that involved or are you just feeling pushed to get it done so we could talk about it?
So at first I wanted, the big push was, we're going to talk about it this week. And so
Right.
I need to at least watch a few. But as I watch, it really sucks me in. And I just, it surprised me a lot so far.
Okay.
So I'm really curious how the next 10 episodes are going to go. But it's definitely not what I expected it to be.
Right.
But let's talk a little bit about the characters, and then we'll talk more about episodes 1 through 6, and try not to spoil it for me.
We'll try.
Jo Jung-suk is, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but that's his name. And he was in Hospital Playlist, which was really good. But he plays a different part in this, obviously. And to me, he looks totally different.
Really?
Yes, he even looks different from the first episode without the beard.
Right.
And then when he gets the beard later on.
And he plays, the beginning of the first few episodes, he plays the Grand Prince, which is basically the king's brother, right?
The younger brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But he's next in line to become king if something were to happen, right?
That's true, because the king doesn't have any heirs. The female lead is played by Shin Se-kyung, and she's been in a lot of different dramas, but none that I've seen.
Do you know any of them?
No.
She was in Run On. There is another actor in the show that I like, and that is Yang Kyung-won. And he doesn't play a good character in the show, but I like him.
What does he play?
What's his character name?
Yoo Hyung-bo.
What does he do? Wait,
He's-
is he after episode 6?
No.
He's the one that keeps. He's like the war guy.
He's
the
What is it?
son's-
The
the
Secretary of War. Is that what his title is?
His
the bad
son?
guy. No, he's like his right hand guy.
Yeah, he's not the son. He's the assistant or the
Maybe at this
not
point he's
assist-
not. He's not at that point
Oh.
yet. Because remember, he was just part of the
Yes.
the gang.
Yes, when
Okay.
they were sent off. Remember?
Oh, the weird guy with the mustache.
Yes, he could have had a mustache. It's been
I
6
know.
months since I've seen her.
Well, I'll find out soon enough. This is probably after episode 6.
No, he's in it really from the
I
beginning.
think, yeah, he's in it for the beginning,
Yeah.
but
Is he kind of like the ringleader of all the bad
Yes.
people?
Yes, he is.
That
Yes.
does the
Yes.
like shady stuff.
Yes.
And then,
He is.
okay.
But
I don't enjoy him.
I know, but I like him because
as an actor.
yes, he was in Vincenzo and Crash Landing on Moon.
Oh my goodness. Are you sure?
Positive.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. It's been driving me crazy because he looks so familiar.
Right.
I was just
Yeah.
like, who is he? And I've never seen him in a role where he plays a villain.
I know.
Wow. How could he?
Eventually
Oh my
they go to the
goodness,
dark
my
side.
mind is blown. Wow. Okay. Okay. Basically, this is my take on it. The Joseon Empire is under attack by the Qing dynasty. It is Qing. I looked it up.
Oh, good. Because I
Did you know?
had no clue either.
And it makes sense because I went to Qingdao and that's spelled similarly. Anyway, but so the Joseon Empire is under attack by the Qing dynasty and they surrender, but as a consequence of, I don't know, being taken over.
Of surrendering.
Yeah, surrendering. They make the king's brother go to the Qing dynasty. It's like their punishment. And episode 1, I was just so, I think I started like tearing up right away. And Michael's like, what is happening? Because the Grand Prince and the King have such a sweet moment together. And I know for you guys, you've seen it all. It must be a long time ago since you saw episode 1. And it's right at the beginning of episode 1.
Yeah.
But do you recall that?
I do. When the Grand Prince is getting ready to leave? Is that what you're talking about?
And the king hugs him and says, you're my brother first.
Right.
And whatever you do, survive and return.
Right.
Yes.
And doesn't he say something like, whatever hurts you hurts me? Did he say that?
Yes.
Is that when that came up? Yeah. Yes.
And it's such a beautiful moment. And you think they're so close and how amazing
Right.
their relationship is.
Right. That they can rely on each other. And because even from the get-go, you know that the king is not well and he has issues, right? You know that he's mentally like not stable and is not convinced of what he's doing. He like second guesses everything he does. I don't think he's a strong king.
Right.
He relies on everybody around him.
Right.
Right.
And yeah, and I got that sense that he was insecure.
Right.
In
That's
that
a good way
moment.
to put it. Right.
What I didn't know, and maybe you guys will give me some insight on this because I am still not really sure. So the Grand Prince keeps writing letters back home. And does the king read them? Or is it someone else? Is the traitor Ministry of War intercepting them? Because, I mean, some things happen, like the king plants the peach tree in honor of him.
Right.
And it doesn't look like the king's actually receiving those letters. Do you know who was?
Well, and at one point, and I wish I could remember what their titles were, but he's like one of the only people in the court that, you know, helps the king makes decisions. He's like one of the only good ones. And I think he told the prince at one point, the Grand Prince, when you send letters, or no, maybe it was his friend, his young friend said, send business separate than personal. Because I kind of took it that things weren't getting where they were supposed to get. And so maybe things weren't really being relayed correctly.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I just wasn't sure. Maybe if I rewatched it, I would know who is intercepting. Now that I've seen so much of it. But how long do you think he's away?
Well, at one point it says 3 years later.
Right.
Wasn't that when he became?
No, I thought it was 3 years. He was gone for 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, was that it? Just 3 years?
Yes, that's what I
Just
thought.
3 years to
I
be in
thought that was
captivity.
a long time.
Yes, but so much happens in 3 years.
Well, think about life. What happens in
Yes.
3 years? And what's happened in the last 3 years of your life? I mean,
Okay, there you go. 3 years is a lot.
right? I mean, in the program, it was a couple hours, but
Mhm.
That's funny. Okay, so he's away for 3 years. And then he comes back, and that's when you really realize the king has lost his marbles.
right.
Crazy, crazy king. And I don't know. I guess it's been 3 years of being. Why are they so anti the Grand? I'm having so many ideas at once and thoughts at once, but whoever the traitor, I just call him the traitor. I don't know what else to call him. Ministry of War traitor. He is so anti the Grand Prince.
Right, because he's with the other family. So there's two sides of the royal family. there's the Grand Prince with his mom, right? And then there is the
opposition, who is actually the father of the queen.
okay.
So
So
Very
yeah, so there's
confusing.
two sides, and they're competing to have their side of the family become
right.
the next king.
Although he's nuts for thinking that way, because since when would a queen's family necessarily?
Right. But that's the whole
Right.
the division and the war, basically a war between
Right.
both sides, and the manipulation as to get their side of their party,
Right.
to be in power.
I do have to say, episode 1, and you touched on this a little bit, the Grand Prince from Hospital Playlist. When I first started watching it, I kind of giggled because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to buy it. Like the guy from the happy liver doctor from Hospital Playlist is going to play the brother of a king in a Josian piece. And I kind of was laughing a little bit because I just didn't buy it. Like, I'm like, no.
How long did it take you?
I'm like, he doesn't even seem like royalty. I don't know if I'm going to even buy into this. How long did it take me?
I guess it's good that I haven't seen Hospital Playlist yet.
Yeah, it probably is. But I don't know. I'm not sure, but there was a certain point where it changed for me, and I was like, okay. And then as it goes on, his whole personality changes, but we'll get more into that
What
later.
I say is that maybe when he actually when the king, his brother, died, and his personality changes, that maybe when you had a change of heart?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because he did. His personality became very strong.
Yeah. It didn't seem strong before.
Right.
He didn't. And I mean,
He was just enjoying life and living it to the fullest, not having all the responsibility and the weight on him. So
yeah. And he didn't mind that life. I
No.
thought that was the life he wanted.
Right.
I don't even know anymore. Don't tell me, I'm only on episode 6.
we will not tell you.
So yeah, that was my first thought. And then I thought the king at this point, I was like, he's crazy, that guy. And I can't believe he would like turn on his brother so drastically. It's heartbreaking.
That was heartbreaking.
It was. And I don't know what to say, but there's one part that totally made me shudder in disgust. The king makes the woman servant, I don't know what she's, he like makes her suck on his gross bloody thumb.
And
What
it
was that?
Well, and it shows throughout the drama, it shows him picking at his thumb all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's gross and
It's disgusting. And then he like shoves it in her mouth. And I think it just represents he makes her do things she doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I took it as he was making her prove her loyalty to him, that she was willing to do that.
She was the head of the concubines, wasn't she?
I don't think she was.
Maybe
Maybe
some
she
sort
was.
of concubine.
Maybe she was. She wasn't a concubine herself.
Are you
Because
sure?
because later on, they say that they'll make her one, and she doesn't want that. Remember?
Okay, that's true. Yes.
So I don't think she's an actual concubine, but I think she
May have been forced to do weird things with the king.
right.
I think that's what the thumb symbolized.
Right.
I don't know, but it was
Well, and I think
creepy.
I think with his state and his insecurities, he couldn't trust anybody.
Right.
Right. And so that was like I think he felt like she was the only person he could trust.
Maybe. I don't know, but
That's how I took it.
I was thinking to
It
myself,
was nasty.
yeah, and I'm thinking, what are they making me watch?
Yeah.
Because it was all in episode 1.
That was only in episode 1.
Yes, I'm like,
wow.
well, time to turn it off.
Yeah.
It's
Spoiler alert. They'll show that scene a couple times, so beware. Flashbacks.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
Gross. Okay. All right. So He comes back.
The Grand Prince comes back.
Yeah, things are falling apart. Everyone thinks he's a traitor because there's all these rumors going around. And yeah, I was like, I was kind of thinking this is kind of predictable.
What, that he comes back and then
Maybe the first few, like, oh, he'll just try to get in the good graces of the king. And I wasn't even sure. I don't know.
Well, and he was looked down upon because his brother said, go do whatever you have to do to make peace and, get on their good side. And that is what he did.
Yeah.
And he was phenomenal at getting the, what do I say? Not the confidence, but the
Trust.
the trust.
Yes.
Yeah. From the, how do you say it?
The
Qing dynasty and the king and everything over there, the emperor, whatever they were. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He's those relationships. And then he comes back and gets thrown under the bus.
And he sees his peach tree that was planted in honor of him, and it's dead.
Yes.
So sad. So, I mean, the Grand Prince shows that you think, wow, he's upstanding, moral, smart, a good diplomat. He befriends these powerful people, kind of has them in the palm of his hand in a way.
Right. And going back to the beginning, not only is he good at being a good diplomat with the higher ups, but also with the common people.
Yeah.
So he has it all.
And he negotiates some of their releases.
Right.
And really does things behind the scenes to help people.
Right.
So you're just kind of amazed by him, and you really like him.
Yes.
At first.
Yes. And then things change, right?
Yes. But the female lead enters. And, I wanted to say one thing. The quote, there's this quote in episode 1 towards episode 2, and they say it a few times. To wish for life when you love them and death when you hate them, wishing them to live while wishing them to die. That is what it means to be captivated.
Right.
And and
I think that's the king's favorite quote, and that's why the Grand Prince has learned that, right? Is that correct?
I don't know. It's what they were taught. And it's like, don't be captivated. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what that means. I'm not that smart.
You'll find out later.
Okay. I don't feel, oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good to know, because I kept reading it going, am I dumb? I just don't really get it.
Yeah, they'll say that quote quite often. So you'll get it at one point.
Okay. And, yeah. So anyway, those were my first couple of thoughts about the beginning, but let's talk about the female lead.
She is an incredible Go player. I don't really know how to pronounce the other. I don't know if it's Badit or
right.
Something like that. It's the same.
Baduk. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it's Go.
It's Go.
And she really is phenomenal. But she has to pose as a man.
And she was taught by her father.
Yes.
Who is, as we talked about a little bit ago, the only good person in the court.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
He is.
And I think he was a teacher to the king and to the Grand Prince.
He was like their master, teacher.
Anyway, the Grand Prince / King, he's also an incredible Go player. So he wants another player. He wants to be able to play with somebody who's good.
Well, we'll go there a little bit later, Mel.
I was going to say, wait, let's back up, but I was going to let you finish your thought. Because how do they meet? How does the Grand Prince and her meet?
Yeah, that's what
do you remember?
I do.
Okay, tell us.
Well, then you go on.
Do you remember?
I remember.
You can tell us.
She was playing because she would play, I guess it's like a gambling ring of Go, right? So all these guys were out there, and she, like you said, is dressed as a male. So she can play. And so she's playing them, and she only plays if there's a bet involved, and she always wins. And so when she wins, she receives their Go table and their rocks, and then she sells them. So she's playing Go. The Grand Prince comes up, and we don't need to go into detail as how he got there, but and the other Go players are like talking bad about the Grand Prince and how he's a traitor and all this stuff. Well, she totally defends him, not knowing that he's standing right there. And so that really catches his attention that there's actually somebody standing up for him, right? And so he like has an instant connection with this, who he thinks is a male, but it's actually the female lead. Did I get it right?
You
A little
did.
bit, but
You did well, Serena. And she mentioned something and says that the Grand Prince is the only person she would want to play Go with.
oh, that's right. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, elephant in the room. She does not look like a man.
No.
No,
Uh,
absolutely not.
I know.
She doesn't sound like a man. She doesn't have mannerisms like a man.
No.
No,
I mean, she's so clearly a female.
right,
It's insane.
right. I don't, I don't get how they don't try. I mean, they put makeup on her, I mean, why don't they make her for the drama? Why don't they try to not, don't put makeup on her, make her look more like a man?
Mhm.
Because obviously she's so much smaller in stature and just her build is petite. So maybe he's a small guy, but at least make her face look like a guy.
Or try to talk less feminine. Speak
Right.
less, speak less feminine.
Right.
So it's just so funny to me.
Yes, that all throughout it. And you'll
Mhm.
see that people will bring it up once in a while
Mhm.
in the drama, but you'd think that they would have caught on way before this.
Yeah. You would think.
You would think, but it is a drama.
Yeah.
It's not real.
And there wouldn't be a drama if if this didn't happen. So she won't tell people her name either.
Right?
So she says, if you beat me, I'll tell you who I am. And I'm really wondering, don't say anything. I'm not even going to look at either one of you. I'm wondering if she beats the king, or if the king will ever beat her at Go and then be forced to reveal who she is.
I had the same question.
So we'll see what happens in the coming episodes. I'm wondering, is she going to play a male around him until episode 15? Like, Mom, you're shaking your head. Yes.
I'm just shaking my head yes to no matter what you say, because that way it's always the same.
Okay, Mom. I think she spoiled it.
Mm-mm.
Well, only time will tell. But
Only time.
so what else? There's so much I could say. But
Well, if we
episode-
want to talk about the man who plays her father, he played the father of Park Seo-joon in Itaewon Class.
Oh, really?
Yes, to me, he's a good actor, really. Of course, who isn't? They are all phenomenal, but
Yeah, I've not seen a bad one
I
yet.
know, they're incredible.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Uh-huh.
Who else? Tell me more facts.
I think that's all I can think of.
She just wanted to make sure we knew that.
I didn't know that, but if you think of more, tell us. Episode 3 is where things start shifting
What happens there?
in the drama. So, let me see. Well, the villain, the original villain, because there's so many villains in this.
The
Ministry
of
the
War
Man villain.
Yeah, that ends up dead.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he was like a little snake to the king.
absolutely.
And it was so frustrating. He
Mhm.
would go around planting little seeds of doubt. What if this? What if that?
To the original king or the Grand Prince when he becomes king?
No, to the original king. And it just reminded me of how Satan works. Like, did God really say? And I don't know, it just
Right.
reminded me he's like so evil.
And manipulative.
And he's like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Just like little seeds of doubt
Right.
to make someone turn.
And it's all to benefit him.
Yeah, absolutely. So episode 3 is when all the Go players are rounded up, including the female lead.
So the original Kingsman killed.
Not yet,
Or
before
has
this
died, I should say.
this
Has
is
he?
before it. Wait. No, this is before that happens.
Oh, so he hasn't died yet. Okay.
He hasn't
sorry.
died, and they all
Okay.
get rounded up because they just want to spread. They want to get the king's very sick, and so I think they want to get the Grand Prince out of the way. So they're trying to get them to confess to some type of conspiracy that the Grand Prince is involved in, like just make things up. And if they torture them enough, they're hoping they'll get
Oh,
these
that's right. Okay.
confessions out of them.
Right.
And so there's this moment where the Grand Prince comes. And, what is the nickname he gives her? Do you guys remember?
Moon.
Moonwa?
Moon.
Do you remember, Mom? Moonduck?
Let's see if it says.
Moonduck? And I just watched this yesterday and I can't remember.
Wonder if we'll find it.
This is like a nightmare episode that we're we didn't have any material. We're going to be all over the place, and I tried to be so prepared. It didn't work.
You'd think that they would put it in here as the.
Well, I'll look it up for our next podcast, but
If you watch it, you'll know.
well, I know I will. And then you can write it down. I'll write it down. So he sees the female lead in her disguise, and they're friends. They've become Go friend players. Friends through playing Go.
Mm-hmm.
And she's being captive, like been taken, and is about to be interrogated. And the prince sees her and says something like, just wait, I'm going to come back for you and I'll rescue you. And I felt like at that point, I was like, if he knew she was a woman, he would have like wrapped her wrist and taken her. But he thinks it's just his friend, this guy. So he leaves him there and he's like, I'll come back and save you. And I'm like, of course he will. Well, then at the episode of 3, the king is ready to kill him. It's insane.
King Mongwu.
Oh,
Mongwu.
King Mongwu. And it means thick drizzle of rain.
Right.
That's right. The rain has a lot.
Yes. Again, we've talked
Yeah.
about that, how there's a
Mhm.
lot of rain that's different. The rain is brought in different, but the same thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's good. But my whole point is, like, everything changes after he says, I'll come back to save you.
Right.
The king ends up dying. It looks like he may have been poisoned. And the king gives his last words to the Grand Prince.
Right.
What were they, Mom?
Well, he tells him he doesn't want him to be king and he wants his son to be king.
Mm-hmm. And to also find out who's murdered him.
Right.
So you think, okay, I mean, what I thought is the Grand Prince is it's going to be his mission to protect his nephew, to find out who the murderer was. And I'm like, okay, I can see where this is all headed.
Because you think he's an outstanding guy. He's very honest and he's very loyal to his brother. So you think that exactly that's what he's
Mhm.
going to do is follow his orders to the T, right? His last words to the T.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then I think it's the next episode, like he's basically, I don't know, sometime in episode 4, he says, I heard the last words and it's that he wants me to be. And
Right.
I was stunned.
Yes.
I was stunned. But then I thought, okay. And I can't look at you guys because I'm still not far into it. I'm like, maybe this is all a plan because the young prince or the young nephew to the grand prince is so young. Maybe he's just trying to protect him until he's old enough to take the throne.
Mhm.
And I mean, that could still be, but I don't know. It doesn't really seem like that. And it's just odd because he never seemed like he was trying to take over at all up
Right.
until this point, unless there's things happening that we haven't seen that will come to light. But it's like he's decided he's king, and he gets the head concubine or whatever she is, head servant, to confirm that he heard the last words.
Because
even
she was
though-
in the room. It was just the
Mhm.
3 of them in the room when he died.
Yeah, so she lies for him.
Right.
But
And the minister of war, who we know is an evil person, stands up and says, absolutely not. There's no way that that's what he said. But
Mhm.
then she comes in to confirm it. So there wasn't anybody to rebuttal it.
yeah, which was actually a wonderful moment because he's so evil.
Right.
So it's like finally, and then I mean they get these false confessions from, actually the evil traitor guy, his son
Right.
writes up a false confession from the female lead
Right.
because he's in love with the female lead. He knows she's dressing
Mhm.
up like a male to play Go, and he doesn't like it.
And he's been trying to get her dad to agree for them to be married. And the dad will not approve of it until she says
Yeah.
yes. But she won't say yes to anybody that can't beat her at Go. And he can't beat her at Go. So he's totally infatuated, and she doesn't want to have, I think she knows that he's not a good guy.
Right.
Right.
I think so. At least at this point. I don't know if he changes, but yeah. So there's these like false statements, and it's all like out in the courtyard, this big scene, and the female lead is sitting there, and basically they're all going to be banished to, I don't know, tortured and made to be slaves for 3 years,
Hard labor.
whipped 300 times.
Right.
And the female lead's just like, kind of like, I'm your girlfriend.
Right.
You know,
Right.
she's so,
Aren't you going to save me?
and she likes him. She really,
Oh, yeah.
she's quite smitten with him. And she's like, wait. And he just kind of looks at her and is like, I am a king now. And the king doesn't have friends,
Right.
and totally abandons her.
Yes.
And that's when I realized this is not going in the direction I
Mhm.
thought it was going to go in.
Right.
It was shocking.
And I had to go back to your last when you were talking about how when he gave his rendition of the last rites of the king, I was so shocked at that and at him turning his back on her that I actually rewound it several times to reread the subtitles, thinking I must be reading it incorrectly, because why is he giving the wrong name? I thought I had the characters mixed up. I was so surprised. So that's how shocking it was to me.
I know. And so sometime around this time, I totally forgot he was in hospital playing. I'm like, the happy-go-lucky character was gone. And
Right.
I was so shocked. And I still am really like, I don't really know where this drama's going anymore.
Right.
I don't. So
Is that what episode was that?
this is probably episode 4. And the prince also murders the traitor, which was shocking too.
Right.
The Ministry of War, how he
Right.
kills him.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave him a chance
Yes.
to repent and
Right.
he wouldn't. And I was kind of like, okay, but he gave him a chance to repent. But he's just different now, like completely, instantly different.
Right.
And I don't even know. So,
It makes you, I mean, I kept thinking about what the king goes through and all of the people in his ears. And it makes me think of our presidency here in the US and all the pressure that is on them and how much they go through. And the same thing, they're getting an earful from every side and they have to decipher what's right, what's wrong, what they believe, what they don't believe. I mean, there's just because everybody has their own agenda that
Wow.
they're throwing at him, right? So that's what I kept thinking through this is, relating it back to our current world and how I would not want to be a king or a president or a mayor or,
Yes.
any of that for the life of me. It's just, you don't really know who your friends are. You don't know who to trust.
that's true. I didn't think about it that way, but that's completely true.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think it's that way, not only just like as a king and a president, but, you think of CEOs of big companies or that kind of stuff. I think they're all have to deal with that.
wow.
That's why it's good to be a peon, right?
It is. It is. So, I won't go into details with what happens to the female lead, but fast forward 3 years later, the female lead survived her
Her banishment and her hard labor.
banishment. She didn't really have hard labor. She escaped and they cut her.
I didn't want to say too much, but because I don't
sorry.
remember what is in what spot, so I don't want to give it
Oh,
away
yeah,
to you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if you say it, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And she has nothing on her mind except revenge.
Right.
And I think it's just because she was so hurt since she liked him
Right.
Yes.
and he betrayed her.
Yeah.
She really thought they had a good friendship and a good relationship and that he trusted her and she trusted him. And yeah, that was hard to see too.
Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah,
That
did not
was
expect
really
that.
sad. It was really sad.
It was.
So the king, 3 years later, he's even more hard than he was when he banished all of them. And
Right.
he's lonely and he's looking for a friend to play Go with.
Exactly.
He's like a kid. I need a partner I need someone dedicated to play Go with me anytime I want.
Well, and it seems to me like the strategy of Go plays a lot into his strategy as a king because he's always thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead, which is what you do in Go. So to me, they go together. And that's why he's so good and so intent on Go, because it helps him think about his strategy as being a king.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to be looking for that because I haven't gotten really into it yet.
Okay.
So where I ended, they had this competition to see who the best Go player was to get this special position. in
To
the
be
palace.
his only Go player.
Yes.
Yes,
So, and of course, she wins.
of course.
And he is shocked to learn that she's still alive.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because so he had given her, because of the rain, he gave her that special name
Mhm.
and then she's gone. And then she comes back. And when she has to register to be in the competition to become that one and only, she used that name.
She put that name down purposely.
Yeah. Yes. And that he was just like, oh no, there's no way that can't be. But it was obviously.
And he seemed excited at
Oh,
the thought
yes.
because she's the best Go player.
Yes.
And he did have a genuine relation, at least you think,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know at this point. I mean,
Mhm.
it was genuine for her, but I
Right.
don't know. You don't really do that to a friend.
No.
You would hope not.
Where I've kind of left off, they started playing go after he threatens her and says, if you're here for revenge, tell me and I'll kill you. Basically, that's what he tells her on their
Right.
first, when they've reunited.
Right. If I even have a hint that you're here for anything.
And she is. She's there for revenge. So, and he knows what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're in this psychological game right now. They both know it, but they're both continuing. So it's interesting. I have 10 episodes left. I don't know. I mean, so much has happened in 6 episodes. It's hard to imagine where 10 more will take me.
Right. And
I wish you'd get on with it.
she only has so many hours in the day besides
I
work.
know.
It started Sunday.
Wow. I'm
It's
impressed.
Tuesday
In 2
night.
days. Yeah.
I'm impressed.
So 2 nights. I mean, Sunday and
Wow.
Monday really only. So
I worked
Wow.
9.5 hours yesterday.
Wow.
I worked 9 hours today.
so there are so many twists and turns through this that up until the end, you're guessing and wondering, and whoever wrote it did a great job.
Wow. I mean, I watched a lot of time period dramas,
Yeah.
and this one has really surprised me so far. And I'm excited. I'm so glad that you both told me to watch it, and I'm glad we're talking about it. And my plan is to finish it in the next 3 days. So
Wow.
I have
Wow.
a lot of watching to do.
Goodness. Okay. We'll see if you can get it done so that our next podcast we can finish up.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you for listening to our first podcast on Captivating the King, episodes 1 through 5. And we'll be talking about 6 through 16, hopefully next time, if I finish the drama.
Good luck.
Thank you. That's all we have time for tonight.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the K-Drama Divas podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as we did. Before we part ways, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us on social media at K-Drama Divas to stay up to date on recent and to share your thoughts and recommendations.